if I mention few things, first of all, this is a very generalized opinion, but it will be specific to each company based on the ethics followed by the company, the value system followed by the company, as well as the culture and the philosophy of the company. All these companies will have its own, like an individual, its own values or propositions, while doing the business. So most of the expectations will be based on the company's culture and practices, and also the value system which they are upholding as their base. So have that in mind first. And today, we are in a situation where students are successful in examinations, but failure in life. This is what you see in the students community today. If you look at the students who are in the engineering background or medical background, wanting to get into NEET and get into medical science, few percentage of marks for the NEET exam, you're seeing the news that students are committing suicide. So this is actually an eye opener for all the teachers, all the faculty members throughout India, throughout TamilNadu, that why this is happening. It's mainly because of the fact that students are undergone tremendous pressure to learn and score marks. Okay, but life is different from that. Life is different because we need to know what you have learned is applicable to your life. Whatever subjects that the students are being taught, they should be able to blend it with the life. So that is where the skill related teaching, or the skill what you call the skill imparting skill, has got a lot to do, because this is directly getting into the life or professional life of a person. So we are very, very, very key team of people who are building the nation, who are building the youth. So I'm again telling you that, so how much we can integrate the knowledge that we are giving, connected with the conversion that into skill. The knowledge can be converted into skill, and they can also relate it to their life, professional life. It will be very good for the students. So that is the basic thing that we need to keep in mind. Then, as a priority, I would say that most of us are teaching the concepts. Okay, that is what is being the basics of anything, that you teach them the concepts and the basics. At the same time, today, whatever may be the depth of knowledge on the basics, the world in which we are operating is always running against the time, especially in logistics industry. So the speed is very, very important. The ability to adapt is very important, for which one thing is very crucial today is we are in a digital world. The technology is what is driving everything. Even a logistics company, okay, though we call it as a logistics company or e-commerce company, biggest in the world like Amazon, or in India, Flipkart, they are actually, though they are logistics company, they are actually driving everything through their system. The software and the hardware which is running their logistics module is actually the cause for their success. It is not the efficiency in logistics that is getting into the picture. It is the efficiency of the system or the technology which they use, and how they are integrating people with the process to deliver what is the customer is looking for within the short span of time. So technology is going to be the base thing that we need to look at, whether our trainees, whether our students are getting trained sufficiently on that. Okay, to tell one small example, a student who is studying BCom will be knowing what is cash book, what is a ledger, etc., and how to make an account, nominal account or a real account, or a personal account, like debtors, creditors, etc., by preparing it in the classroom, by drawing a ledger, debit, credit, both the side, all those things. But when he completes his post-graduation or BCom and then post-graduation, gets into an office, he will realize that there is no cash book is visible. There is no debit column, credit column of a cash book, or a nominal register, or an expenses register, which you are seeing, which you are studying in the classroom, is not visible in an office, because it's all run through a system driven by the software, which may be an accounting software. So how far he is exposed to that kind of a computerized environment while learning the subject through notebook and textbook and teaching method. At that point of time itself, if they are able to get some idea about how a software is driving an accounting lesson on a accountancy or bookkeeping, how is it happening? If they are getting some idea, they will not be out of place when they come to an office. So initial thing is that how much practical we can go when you are training the students, that will help the organizations. Otherwise, in spite of doing all these efforts of empowering the students with a lot of conceptual knowledge, you will be still struggling, because the institutions will tell, the companies or the industry will tell that the students are not trained properly only because of this gap. So please take care on that, that they need to be as far as possible practically linked to how a software or hardware is being operated to control the function which you are teaching. For example, warehousing or freight forwarding, you will have a lot of documentation process taught to the people, a lot of technical terms explained to them, etc. But showing how this is being driven in a company practical environment through a software or through a system has to be given as an example or as an exposure to them, so that they will be able to grasp it. They will not be caught off guard when they get into the employment. So this is one important point that I would like to mention. So that's on the technology side. The next point is that, see, we are teaching subjects in most of the institutes. It's very important that the students are good in understanding the subject and also score good marks for them to get placement. This is the general understanding. And for getting this kind of marks is where we are teaching, we are training, and also we are giving them different kinds of activities and assignments, all those things from the teaching aspect. At the same time, what is that we need to look at is that as part of the curriculum, we also need to bring in a lot of value system into them. Okay, for example, many people today are thinking that they need to get a job and they need to build their career and become very rich. That rich is the word that comes into people's mind. That means with that rich or with the flow of money that they are going to get, they need to get car, they need to get own flat or building or house. They need to get everything that is physically visible today as a luxurious thing. This is how they are all trained to dream. But one thing is that you can always ask them the names of few people and ask them whether they were rich. For example, Gandhiji. Is Gandhiji very rich in money? Is Jesus Christ or Mother Teresa? Or if you ask Adi Shankaracharya, Vivekananda, okay, Mahatma Gandhi, Vivekananda, then so many people like Buddha. Are these people are very rich in terms of money? No. But their names, the history of the world is incomplete without their names. They became so important in the society, not because of the money that the wealth that they have amassed, but what is important is that the value system that they've provided, value system that they've created, the value system that is the principle of their life. Gandhiji, truth and non-violence. Jesus Christ, love, one word, is the life of Jesus Christ. Similarly, Vivekananda, youth energy, and Buddha, peace. Like that, Mother Teresa, service. You take Adi Shankara, the knowledge. All these things you can understand. One word or one value related to that word is what is their life, where they became greater than the richest people in the world. You might not even remember the names of richest people lived in the last 50 years or 100 years in this world. But you cannot forget the names of these people whom I was mentioning, mainly because they lived their life with the values with which the society is built. So similarly, when we are teaching students, we need to know how to embed value system in them is very, very important. So as teachers, as faculty members, we are all equally responsible for building that kind of youth and then giving them the opportunities for growth. Then there are a lot of things that is not visible when we are seeing them as students. is the kind of behavioral aspects that they get into. When it comes to a company, they need to know that they are an employee rather than a student in an institution or in an educational institution. So the mindset change from a student to an employee is little different, because how serious they are when they come inside an institution like educational institution. It will be a kind of jolly and enjoying kind of a mood, and that's how the team members, that how the peers will be, or that will be the fellow students would be. So they are all having that mindset. From there, you are getting into a responsibility taking kind of a organization where you're employed for taking responsibility. So that behavioral aspect of change of mentality from the mindset from a student to a responsible corporate employee has to be reminded them from the beginning, so that they will be able to get those points as part of their education. Otherwise, their behavior will not change. They will remain as silly, and the institution from where they are coming will not be regarded as the best from the industry perspective. So I have touched upon the industry aspects also. Then comes some of the points which we always talk about, which are all known to you, that today logistics industry can function because it is almost going to be 24/7. That's how the movement of people, the movement of materials, that's happening. So people need to be very, very flexible when they are coming inside the organization for working. So how you can give them that is very, very important. Flexibility. Flexibility is one important factor. And before getting into these kind of factors, once again, one important point that we all will forget is that they are all coming to study or learn the subject with an interest and with an intention of getting into an employment which can give them very good salary. So the students are always coming with an expectation of good salary. This is their right. This is their right way of thinking, etc. And most of the institutions, I'm not talking about a skill development council like what you are having, talking about the colleges where students are going. If it's an MBA college, they will say that, okay, from you, when you complete MBA from my college, definitely you should be getting 5 lakhs minimum as CTC. This is the kind of motivation, this is the kind of talk that the professors will give to them, or the placement officers will talk to them, that you should accept minimum 4.5 or 5 lakhs CTC to get a job because you are an MBA. So if you are, or anybody is having that kind of a mindset, I would like to just tell what will happen when they come to the industry. In the industry, will ask one question, that how much money you paid for getting your MBA course. They will say 6 lakhs rupees. How many years? 3 years or 2 years. And now with that certificate of 2-year certificate, you will not be able to do anything in an organization unless I train you properly in my system, my practices, my policies, and the way my software is being run. I need to train you for next 6 months or 1 year. Okay, you for getting a certificate which you cannot do anything with that certificate, you paid 6 lakhs rupees, and now you are coming and asking me to pay 6 lakhs rupees of salary where I need to train you. So we need to bring the students to the reality of life, that it is not just getting a certificate. How you are getting trained them practically to use, to be useful to the employer. That mindset also to be given to the employees, because it is not that you need to demand a higher salary for your ability immediately. Your first responsibility is to get a job in a good company, and then you create visibility for you through your knowledge, attitude, skill, and also prove your commitment and integrity. Automatically, you will be growing in that organization. Money will follow you if you follow these basic principles. But before building yourself, if you get into the mode of getting more money, then there could be setback in your career. So you can advise them in that way, that first priority is to get into an organization which is stable, which can give you growth, and there you prove your point, money will follow you. That is another advice that I would like to give based on how I've interviewed youngsters from various institutes and what they say, and why they are expecting that salary. They will say, my placement officers and my professors used to tell that from this college, I must get this much of salary. that is the routine thing that we hear from students, but we talk to them to make them understand the situation where you pay money to get a certificate, and to get a job and get a bigger salary, you're approaching us with that certificate, which is not practically giving you any exposure, or exposure is very limited when you get that certificate and come out of the college. So another point is flexibility, which I was telling, that people should not be rigid in thinking about job, possibilities of the job, the kind of difficulties in the job. All those things are very, very important to build their career. Because why I'm telling this flexibility is important is that the reality of the situation is that students are not getting real exposure in their life, that they are not struggling at all. Even if a teacher scolds them, they become so upset and they feel like not coming to the college. And similarly, if a boss scolds an employee, the employee feels so dull and desperate that he doesn't want to come to the office. Why? Because they were given so much of freedom in life that everything that they wanted, the parents were giving. This is a completely blind, protected parenting that is experienced by the students will affect their career, because they should be tolerant to get some scolding, where their ego will get subdued and they will become more receptive to people who are advising them, rather than taking it as a scolding or putting them down. So this kind of mentality also to be brought into the students' mind when they are undergoing for kind of skill training or concept training or conceptual lesson classes that is being handled by any institution. So that's my humble request, that today's students are very, very good, fast learners, but they cannot tolerate a single failure. The moment some small failure happens, simple thing, they completely get derailed. Their thinking, they are not able to balance their thinking in such situations, which is the biggest problem of the students today, because they've never gone through the process of making something or building something. For example, today, all those who have crossed 50 years, 60 years and lived in their life, students' life in villages, must know or might know or should have known that how a paddy is cultivated, how paddy is harvested, how you are doing sugar, cultivating sugarcane, how it is harvested, and similarly how to tender cow and create, milking the cow, and how to get that produce and sell it, and how much is the value that you're giving to all these things, because you're involved in those processes of creating something. Today, you pay money and get everything. In that process, you don't know the value of waiting period for getting something. For example, a student who was in a village, was partly involved in cultivating along with the parents while studying, will know the value of waiting for getting the output. Okay, and how much of struggle that it is for the parents to get a kilogram of rice or paddy. And that waiting period is always needed for anything to get to flourish. Same way, their career also will flourish only through a waiting period. It is not that they are fresh from college, they should get promotions every year, they should get good increments, etc. All those things, they need to know how to wait and then build their career. So this is also very important for all the faculty members to address the students. Then another important thing is that whatever may be the language, they should have the confidence to speak out, express. It is not the quality of language, or it is not the purity of language, or it is not the purity of grammar that I'm talking about. It is the ability to express. Even a child of 3 months old is communicating with the mother and parents. Okay, it is not with a language. Whether it is born in India or America or Pakistan or Bangladesh, any child in the world speaks only one language. It's crying, smiling, and expressing. Without any language, if child can manage the entire family, when the father should go to market, when the mother should go to the kitchen, when the grandparents should do their work, is decided by the child who cannot speak a single language. At the same time, the child is managing, if you can say that the child is managing the time of all the 4 or 5 members in the family. But when you grow and at least you start speaking 3 languages, One is your national language, another one is your local language, one is English. 3 languages you know, but you find it difficult to manage 5 people in the office or in the classroom. So when I'm talking about communication ability, it is not just the language, it is how you express yourself, how positively you express, so that you get a very good response from the people around you. So that kind of communication skill is what we need to train them or remind them about. Of course, language is important because that's the way we understand people, but at the same time, how you express, it is, even if the language is not that great, but how you express what you want to say, how your body language is, all those things are very important for a person to grow in life. And all those who've grown in their life are having better communication skill, which you can always keep reminding the students, because otherwise you will have to keep on working without getting the recognition, because your expressions and you have not projected yourself well through your positive communication. So please try to bring in these qualities also into the students. And honesty and integrity are the other things that any individual will be having the worth based on the integrity that he carries and the kind of honesty that is built in his upbringing. So all these things are very important. Similarly, punctuality. Normally for class, when they come late, there is always an accepted norm in most of the colleges. Okay, but when it comes to organizations, there are strict regimes, strict rules for regularly late coming, how they are looked at. So punctuality is very important because we are all worshipping time. Time is a very important factor, especially in this industry. Customers can't wait. You book an order, go to a television shop and pay 1 lakh rupees for a television. Next moment onwards, you will be following up for getting the television set delivered into your house. If there is a delay by 2 days, you will lose your control. You will start shouting at the people. You took the money, you did not deliver it. You start demanding it. This is where the industry that we are in. So customer demands after paying, we have the responsibility to make it reach there. We need to be punctual. If employees are punctual, then the service also will be more punctual. So look at that aspect of punctuality and the confidence, determination of the employee, the student who's coming with you, how to build those qualities in them. Keep talking to them on those points. And what employer looks into is loyalty, continuous service, continuous committed service with the organization is what is expected. So loyalty has got value in organization, and most of the organizations are giving rewards for loyalty, like long service awards, and then family picnic, etc. after completing 10 years, 15 years, etc. All these things are important because the organization accepts you as your family member, as a family member. So that will have an added advantage in career building. Then responsible behavior, which I've already told you. Another important point is that how you take accountability for work given to you, how you feel yourself responsible. All those people in organizations have grown only by taking responsibility. The growth is the result of your ability, directly proportionate to the ability of an employee to take responsibility. How much ever good all other factors, if you are not taking responsibility, if you are not accountable for what is assigned to you as a task, then you will find it very difficult to get acceptance from colleagues, your seniors, and the management. So very important how to make them feel that how they take responsibility, and that's the only way through which they can grow in the organization. And then also we need to understand that they need to have a passion for what they're doing. Most of the students are trying to come for a course for just getting some kind of job. But it is our responsibility, the responsibility of a teacher or a guru, to make them understand what is their passion. Once they realize that, they will follow their passion, automatically that will give them the life. For example, Sachin Tendulkar, whose passion was playing cricket, that gave him the life, fame, money, everything. It is not that he has gone to school and spent his time for studying and getting a job. So every individual is unique, and that individual will have a passion. Make him to realize that, help him to find out what is his passion. Even if he has done a mistake of joining for a course, make him to realize that what is his passion, follow that passion, that will give him life. It's very important. Otherwise, we will be bringing a lot of students aspiring to get a job without having interest in it. That will be a liability for organization, institution, and to that person itself. So it's our responsibility to guide them properly and make them to understand what is their core strength, passion, etc. Anybody, when you're telling about passion, other than eating, sleeping, and drinking, what is that you like to do the most in your life? Watching movie, leave all those things. How much time you would like to spend for enjoying yourself by doing something? That is your passion. So reflect on that and then try to understand it. Teamwork and collaboration is very important. Learning orientation is very important. It's not that you got a certificate. You have to learn from the organization, practical aspects and further growth aspects. All these things will be depending upon the learning orientation. Then strong work ethics. What are the organization's ethics? We need to follow that. And one last thing that I would like to talk about is the openness of the personality. A person who's very open will be accepted in all forum, in all organizations. But at the same time, who's rigid, who is very concealed kind of a personality will have no acceptance in the organization, because the trustworthiness or the trust factor will be diminished in case of a closed personality. So try to open up their personality while guiding them. And then the mobile culture is the biggest threat now, that most of the students, those who are coming, are addicted to mobile messages, WhatsApp, etc. So even organizations are using mobile phones for communicating, but there should be a control on how you are addicted to it, or you are using it only for positive purposes is another thing. Otherwise, the child mentality will remain when an employee comes into the organization. All these things can affect their career.